Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. We begin with City Hall, where all day Council heard from the public on the proposed budget. Chris Ensing was there and explains how one big item was a major focus.
People packed City Hall to pitch Council their plans for the 2025 budget. Windsor's looking at a nearly 3% tax hike, largely a status quo budget, with one big ticket item on people's minds: Transit Windsor.
By reducing service levels while increasing fares, the city risks undermining its mandate to deliver services that benefit all residents.
The cut grabbing attention is a proposed elimination of the tunnel bus connecting Windsor to Detroit. That route turns the system into a federally regulated service, requiring the city spend more on guaranteed sick leave.
It's not an essential service, going across an international border. That's certainly not something that we are required to provide, and it's something that is hugely expensive to provide now because of federal changes made by the Trudeau government.
The tunnel bus is a lifeline for myself, low-income families, individuals with disabilities, students, travelers, and workers who rely on its commute to their jobs. It connects families, fosters cultural exchange, and supports local economies.
The cross-border cancellation, not the only one planned for the service. Transit Windsor also runs routes for high school students at the English school boards. They pay the regular fare to take the bus, and it brings them from their neighborhood to schools like Vincent Massey and Holy Names. The mayor's budget eliminates all school extra runs, redeploying the resources to other routes with either increased frequency or serving those similar locations. This idea was squashed by Council last year, but it's back for 2025. Both school boards say they were caught by surprise and that 650 students take these buses every single day. If they eliminate the service, according to administrators, there's concerns that students will miss class because they're relying on the regular routes, which will be more crowded and could lead to transfers getting missed. Students wrote Council saying they felt tossed aside, and parents say this is an idea that needs to be killed.
It will cause a good majority of students to at least double their commute time to and from school, have students transferring buses where they never did before. Secondly, dispersing all of these high school students who are already overcrowding the extra buses onto the regular bus routes is going to have a negative impact on the other riders.
So it's actually a net investment in Transit Windsor to provide enhanced service that would still allow folks to get to school, but they wouldn't have that special service that are provided only to certain high schools.
Council will take a look at this on January 27th, along with the rest of the budget. It needs to be approved by the first week of February. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Windsor.
If you are looking to watch the Detroit Lions game this weekend, the cheapest ticket will cost you at least $850. But there is a chance to win 2 free coveted tickets to watch the Lions roar into the playoffs. CBC's Pratyush Thiel has the details.
Shop a local downtown business in Windsor, submit your receipt, and voila, a chance to win 2 Detroit Lions playoff tickets. That is the bid from the Downtown Windsor BIA.
And we know that it's a hot ticket and it's something that everybody can't get their hands on. So when we work together and use the buying power of the downtown BIA and everyone gets in on it and then everyone has a chance to win, it's really good for all the businesses.
Obviously with the playoffs, it's a little more important.
This restaurant owner says more people are walking in asking about the contest.
Notice a huge influx of, football fans for sure. A lot of people coming in from cities like Toronto or Mississauga, making their way down here to go over to Detroit to see the games. It's been nice. It's been exciting.
The Detroit Lions missed out on the Super Bowl last year. Now they have another real chance to make their first ever Super Bowl appearance.
We're 2 nations. We represent one team.
But the cheapest tickets for this anticipated game starts from $850, with the best seats between $1,800 and $5,000. While the Super Bowl could be within reach for the Lions, tickets at soaring prices are not for many fans.
Nah, it's too much to pay. You know what? Just representing your team here in the local city, that's the best thing. That's the best thing we could do.
Fans are trying their luck at the contest giveaway. This bar owner is seeing it firsthand.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, there are a lot of Lions fans in Windsor, so I have noticed a lot more people are asking for receipts, which is not really a common thing. So it's good, it gets people talking and gets people coming in. So I like it a lot.
And this fan is trying his luck too, before the contest wraps up Wednesday evening.
I would definitely take that route. If there's a possibility at a free ticket just by showing a little bit of participation, why wouldn't you?
Cameron says if winning tickets doesn't work out, he might pick up some extra shifts at work to afford the pricey tickets.
You're going to do great, guys. Let's go Lions. Woo!
Pratish Dayal, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy is with us now for a quick look at weather. Colette, it's been a winter wonderland the last few days. So how's it looking into the evening?
Yeah, well, it's looking very similar. I really have to tell you that. You know, we got a bit of a break from the temperatures, a little milder this past weekend, but that cold air back in place. And even though we've had these cold spells, still a lot of the waters of the Great Lakes not frozen and open. And so we're picking up from Lake Michigan with that westerly flow and getting into those squalls, giving us at times these light snow showers or even drops off to flurries. So look for that overnight tonight, -10 the low, and tomorrow afternoon only a high of -7. More on the chilly air moving in coming up.
Thanks, Colette. Up next, Ontario's NDP leader visits Windsor as Premier Ford continues to tease a possible early election, all while Donald Trump refuses to back down on his threat to slap Canada with 25% tariffs. I'm here with Marit Stiles, the leader of the provincial NDP, and you are here in Windsor, and this morning you had some words for Premier Ford, and you wanted to talk about how there should not be an election at this time. You said it would be bad for Ontarians. Why is it the wrong time?
Well, I was meeting with representatives from Unifor, locals, 444, 200, other folks, workers here, and what I'm hearing from them is no question. Very concerned about stability right now. We've been taking a real all-hands-on-deck approach to the push against this threat of tariffs from Trump. And what I'm hearing from working people, especially here in Windsor, but in many other industries and parts of the province where this is going to be have a huge and devastating impact on our economy, is look, we don't need you guys all fighting amongst each other. We need you unified and focused on the threat that's before us. And so when Doug Ford is talking about calling an early election and that he needs some kind of mandate from the people, I say, you are the Premier, you have a majority government. I'm ready to work with you as the opposition leader. Let's go. Let's focus on maintaining, protecting every single Ontario job.
What would working together look like, practically speaking?
Well, if he wants to come forward with some sort of I guess he's talking now about potential retaliatory tariffs. He's talking about some kind of a package to help lessen the blow if and when the tariffs come after January 20th. Look, bring it to the table. I mean, we are prepared. I'm absolutely there with him on all of those issues. We have to push back hard, and we need to fight like hell to ensure that we protect every single job in this province, whether we're talking about the auto sector or any manufacturing, agriculture, and in every sector in every corner of this province. I'm willing to be there and do that with him. I've been very clear from the beginning. So I'm concerned that this is just an excuse to go to the polls so that he can get another majority. And we are not scheduled to go to the polls for more than a year, June 2026.
On tariffs, so what are your ideas in terms of what the province can tangibly do to protect workers or to fight against these tariffs?
Well, look, I think, we've heard some proposals for retaliatory tariffs. I think that's definitely worth looking at. But I would say this, I'm always a little concerned about us negotiating with ourselves, right? We're not at the table yet. And one of the great fears that, everybody has right now is this instability at the national level, at the federal level, which is real and which is really concerning. We are not in a good position right now. And so it's even more important than ever that we are working with industry, with working people, with the unions to come up with an approach to what those tariffs should be and if we are going to retaliate. We need to make sure that here in Ontario we are all on the same page. Yeah.
And does it seem like Premier Ford is open to the kind of collaboration you're talking about?
So far, no. He hasn't really shown that he's particularly open to that. But I think at the end of the day, if he's smart, he will listen to us, right? We have MPPs in every corner of the province, and particularly in a lot of those areas like Windsor, like Niagara, where like a lot of trade is passing through this border. What, $1 billion a year going back and forth between Windsor and Detroit, right? More than anything. What I want to say to people in Windsor and the region, and what I'm saying to Doug Ford today is do not waste 4 weeks and $150 million on an election right now at a time when we need to be focused 100% on how we're going to push back against what is an existential threat to Ontario and to Canada.
Turning now to a touching story about how LaSalle police are honoring a beloved local Special Olympics athlete who unfortunately passed away last fall. Dawson Chen has the story.
Yeah, buddy. That was the catchphrase of Windsor's Austin Clapp. He may have been the smallest member of his Special Olympics powerlifting team, but his turn on the barbells was often the highlight of weightlifting meets. And when he died last October due to lung issues at the age of 27, his passing was felt by all who knew and loved him. That's why his friends are going to honor him by jumping into the cold water when LaSalle police host their first polar plunge later this month, benefiting the Special Olympics. Celia Gagno, one of Austin's coaches, says his positivity was unbeatable.
He's just smiley, happy, very lovable. But you know what? We all decided that we would continue to do our best in the memory of him. And that was a big reason why all of our coaches decided to get together this year and do the plunge on behalf of him, because he definitely carried our team, and he was definitely our MVP he'll still be our MVP forever.
The polar plunge happens at LaSalle's Event Center on January 23rd. LaSalle Police spokesperson Terry Seguin says the event isn't meant to compete with the long-running Windsor Police polar plunge in February.
We wanted to do something a little different this year, have something local and have something for our own communities. It's great that we can continue to support these athletes, and we have a lot of fun doing it. We have a lot of our officers are coaches or involved in some way with Special Olympics.
Austin's mother, Janine Clapp, says her son was a fan of polar plunge events, attending to cheer on jumpers, hand out towels, and give his score, usually a 10. However, he never wanted to jump in the water himself.
No. I could hardly get him in a shower half the time. Water was not his friend. even more water. He just loved everybody, and everybody loved him, and that doesn't go away. That lives on in every picture, in every memory. That sort of spirit, it lives on.
Those jumping for Austin have named their team the Mouseketeers in recognition of Austin's love of Mickey Mouse. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
What a beautiful tribute. In other news, a team of scientists in Antarctica has been studying a piece of ice drilled from deep below the polar surface, and it dates back more than 1 million years. Karen Pauls looks at how the ice core could help solve mysteries about Earth's changing climate.
Deep in Antarctica, at a remote research station, a team of scientists has been drilling into the ice to the rock nearly 3 kilometers down. They've extracted an ice core that, when laid out end to end, is longer than 8 Eiffel Towers and provides a record of 1.2 million years of Earth's climate, the first of its kind.
It's just an enormous success. We're so thrilled.
Suspended in the ice are ancient air bubbles and particles scientists hope will solve a mystery about Earth's climate history. Specifically, what happened 900,000 to 1.2 million years ago when Earth's climate became less predictable, more rapidly changing between cold and warm periods. Some researchers say our ancestors came close to extinction. Scientists believe CO2 and other greenhouse gases were responsible. Preliminary research suggests levels then were as high as they are today.
It's a riddle for us. We just don't understand what causes the climate to change like that.
But this isn't the oldest ice discovered. That was retrieved last year in Antarctica by American scientists, dating back 6 million years. Princeton's John Higgins says this research is especially important at a time when some people still don't believe in climate change.
Ice cores give us really a unique record of Earth's past in that they trap little bits of essentially ancient atmosphere. And so they're really the closest you can get to going back in a time machine and being able to measure what the atmosphere was like in the past, with an idea about, how those might be relevant for understanding how Earth's climate might change in the future.
This latest sample is being kept at minus 50 degrees Celsius. It's being cleaned and cut into pieces so it can be transported to labs around Europe, where scientists will do their analysis. The first results expected late this year. Karen Pauls.
Welcome back. It is a critical week for Canadian leaders in their ongoing fight to prevent U.S. tariffs. Donald Trump will be sworn in as president in a week, and his threats could be made official the very same day. Ottawa says it has plans to retaliate, but one premier says that could trigger a national unity crisis. Ashley Burke reports.
After personally meeting with Donald Trump, Alberta's premier says Canada needs to get ready for U.S. tariffs next week.
We do need to be preparing ourselves for the fact that they're likely to come in on January 20th.
Smith spoke to Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday and a golf course the next day. She says Trump seems undeterred to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods.
I haven't seen anything that suggests that he's changing course. So our job is going to be to work overtime to make sure that we can make the case for carve-outs if that potential does happen.
The Prime Minister says if that does happen, he will take action.
And we are ready to respond with tariffs as necessary.
His Foreign Affairs Minister says a retaliation plan is in the works.
I can't go into the details of that retaliation plan because I think it would be a bad strategy, but what I can tell you is everything is on the table.
Ontario's premier, who's already threatened to cut off electricity south of the border, insists nothing should be ruled out.
I'm not speaking for Premier Smith, but we have to use all the tools possible when our country's under attack economically, when our province is under attack economically. You just don't roll over.
Some say anything but a united front is helping, not hurting Trump.
I don't think it helps for different premiers to be delivering different messages to the United States. That just plays into Donald Trump's hands.
Premiers will meet with the Prime Minister on Wednesday to all try and get on the same page. They want to know exactly what Ottawa's plan is and what's on its list of potential retaliatory measures. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
To California now and those destructive wildfires in the Los Angeles area. Firefighters made some progress over the weekend, but now the winds are picking up again. The fires have killed at least 24 people and obliterated thousands of homes. Steve Futterman reports.
Los Angeles is on edge, facing the one thing it doesn't want. New winds have arrived. Stronger winds are coming.
Severe fire weather conditions will continue through Wednesday. Please be assured that all fire departments and all law enforcement agencies in the area will be prepared.
And there is fear among those who live here that their homes could be the next victims of fires that have ravaged and shocked this city.
We stand to lose everything if the winds blow the fire back into Topanga and it burns the whole of Fernwood and Topanga down.
I actually don't know where I would go, to be honest. Like, I don't have family here. I have friends, but they're all affected.
My mom's street, you can actually see through the two, the street behind and the street in front.
We're going through the stages of grief, there's no doubt about it.
Nearly a week after these fires broke out, it's still hard to really comprehend the totality of the damage in places like this here in Pacific Palisades. And with the new winds coming up, the one thing officials don't want is a repeat. Fire crews and engine companies have been strategically pre-positioned, placed in vulnerable areas where new fires could start or previously extinguished fires could reignite.
We are not in the clear as of yet, and we must not let our guard down, as we have right now extreme fire behavior.
As preparations for the winds are in place, the grim search for remains among the ruins goes on. Remains of people who either wouldn't leave or couldn't leave. Also today, the first criminal charges against those allegedly involved in looting. One person was also charged with arson in a case not related to these fires.
These people who've committed these crimes are facing very significant sentences. So the criminals have decided that this is an opportunity, and I'm here to tell you that this is not an opportunity. You will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and you will be punished.
The strongest winds are expected tomorrow through Wednesday. The forecast calls for wind gusts over 100 kilometers an hour. Steve Futterman for CBC News, Los Angeles.
We'll have Colette with us right after the break. Stay with us. Colette Kennedy is back with us now for more weather. And Colette, before we get to local weather, I know that you've been keeping an eye on the winds in California and how it's impacting those wildfires. What's the latest?
Yeah, and it's really pretty frightening here in terms of in the next, day and a half or so that we're going to be finding those winds really picking up again. So the forecast has the winds, even the sustained winds getting up there over 50 kilometers an hour at times, but some of those gusts will be over 100. We had that report a little bit earlier here in the show. And just to put things in perspective, if anyone's been watching, on social media or on this program and seeing, you feel Canadian pride when you see those Canadian pilots and those super scooper planes going in there and picking up the water from the Pacific and dumping it on these fires. Well, when those winds get over about 50 kilometers an hour, dumping of the water or the fire retardant is no longer efficient or effective, but it also becomes unsafe for the pilots and their crew. So they'll probably have to be grounded for a little bit in here, not able to help as much as they have been until the winds ease again around noon on Wednesday. Here at home, what we're dealing with, we just eased into some milder temperatures for the weekend, and now we got to ease back into this cooler air. Those are the temperatures, but with the winds, it's feeling like minus 15, Chatham-Kent minus 16 currently. These are just the sustained winds, and then we know we've got these stronger gusts, especially the pockets there in the lee of Lake Huron driving some of the squalls, but some of those as well making their way off of Lake Michigan here into southwestern Ontario towards Windsor, Lakeshore, through this region, getting into Essex and Harrow, all getting at times a little bit of this activity. Now, we'll still be experiencing that into the overnight hours, but the real watches and warnings are further to the north where the accumulations are more significant. Up there, it's going to be, 10, in some cases 15 centimeters or so. We'll just deal with some more of this through the overnight and probably early tomorrow from time to time, and then maybe getting into even some sunny breaks by the afternoon. But we've got strong winds again tomorrow, and then they start to get a little bit better towards midweek. That's why negligible in terms of the accumulations here, even though, kind of hour after hour. Locally, there could be a few pockets where we get a little bit, but just be prepared for this, more so the cold air moving back into us. So minus 10 overnight tonight. We'll be right in that range. Tomorrow's high just minus 7 with those breezy conditions. We keep the cool air for a couple of days and nights, and then we come back up, kind of the same trend as last week. We'll come up towards the weekend. Next week, Katarina, some of the coldest air we've experienced yet coming our way again.
Oh gosh. Okay, thanks Colette, and thanks to you all for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Good night.